You got,
We're
hey,
live.
all
Well,
right.
I think we're live right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Every single live stream I do is just filled with technical difficulties. So, I need a breather. Last time when we did the Halloween stream, the lights shut off in the whole building. This time, our camera wasn't working, then our microphone wasn't working, and so now we're set. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a demo of how I prepare for longer effort drawings. So like if I'm going to be spending 15 hours on a drawing of some figure or portrait or some painting, whatever it is, before I just jump into the longer effort, I want to spend some time preparing. And the way I spend that time preparing is with doing several studies. So this is going to be my reference today. So it's a figure drawing, and the studies that I would typically do for this are first a gesture study. So I want to make sure I find the flow, the rhythms throughout the pose. Then I would do maybe a structure study. So figuring out what the, hey, Steven. Oh, you're very loud, Steven.
I'm very loud.
Oh, God. Stop. Turn off. Stop. It's so loud in my headphones. Jesus Christ. So sometimes a structure study. So like, figuring out the perspective or the cylinders, the boxes, the three-dimensional forms that are taking up the space here. And then sometimes I would do an anatomy study as well, where I actually start to dissect, take off the skin, figure out where the landmarks are, which bumps along the surface do I see that are bones, tendons, muscles. Make sure I understand every bump that I'm seeing so that once I start shading, I'm not confused about anything. I can just accentuate and design things with confidence in my final. I don't want to be figuring things out. I don't want to be figuring everything out on the fly when I'm doing the longer effort. I want to be figuring out some more compositional things, like the subtleties of the shading and all that stuff. But I want to be confident that I know what I'm doing, so I don't have to keep erasing and keep redoing everything and second guessing myself. So setting myself up for that success early on helps to save time in the end and just get a better product. So I'm going to be doing little studies of this. Oh, and sorry, the final study that I sometimes do is value comps. So I study the simple value relationships between all the shapes in here. So I do little thumbnails, and I'll do like a 2-value study, then maybe like a 3-value, a 5-value study. And I start playing around with pushing shapes that I have freedom to push. So like in this reference, the figure is pretty much set. I'm not going to change too much about it. I actually sometimes if I had a photo that I didn't like 100%, I might move some limbs around or whatever. But in this case, I like it. And so the things that I would play around with are the values in the background to kind of figure out how to guide the eye to the places that I want. So in this photo, the background is darker at the bottom, lighter at the top. But, what if I put some dark value behind her? That will push the lights on her face forward more. Maybe the shoulder will pop more. Maybe the light on her back will glow. Because right now, the thing in here that pops the most as far as values is her hair. Like that's by far the most contrast out of anything in here is this dark hair against this white background. So it's like black against white. It's a sharp edge. And so that's kind of where it goes. That's where my eye goes. Maybe that's what I want. I mean, that's not a bad thing. The hair is right next to the face. And so you just send everything that way. But I mess around with that. I play with it.
Wait, so Stan,
sound feel extremely loud. Your background is like,
how about this?
Really high pitched. No, it's still
Okay. Well, you keep going at it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what did you need?
I'm just gonna get this thing set up here.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. Thank you. Technical difficulties, guys. So I don't have the chat visible from here now. Steven's usually in my ears, but I'm gonna jump in and start my gesture study, and then once Steven's able to communicate with me, he'll start getting some of the questions from the chat. So if you guys have questions related to either fundamentals or doing longer drawings or figure drawing, any of that kind of stuff, go ahead and leave a comment in the chat and I'll get to it. By the way, I also want to mention we have a Black Friday sale going on and everything's 20% off. So if you go, if you go to Proko.com, use code BLACK20 on any of the courses, you can pick up those sparkly deals. It's 20% off. It's a sale. We do it every year. And it'll end on Friday, but we'll have Cyber Monday deals as well. So I'm going to start, and I guess this is, where's the other one? Oh, they took it. What's the best way to do this?
What do you need?
I need the smaller reference that Kimberly printed, so that I can have that on the side for people to see, because this is kind of large and I can't have everything on screen.
Level right now for me?
It's still a little weird. Maybe it's just my headphones.
It might be, because everything else seems good on my end. I'm gonna go grab you that reference and then I'll be right back.
Okay.
Everyone in the chat, to answer every single question you guys will ask a million times. Yes, you can watch this afterwards. 2, we'll see your questions. You don't need to type them multiple times. But if you do ask a question, put a little cue before it, so it makes it a little easier for us to see it.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, in the chat, is his sound really, like, the background noise really loud? Or is it just my headphones?
Sounds fine. I think it's you.
Okay, it's probably my headphones. Okay.
Thank you, Moss3 Dub, for saying it sounds good here.
Okay, wonderful.
And Anthony, yes, we are doing a 24-hour live stream.
We are.
For you guys here in this chat, what courses would you like to see some lessons from in that thing? I'll be back.
All right. I'm trying to position this. All right. There you go. So I'll have a smaller reference soon, but in the meantime, just trying to study the gesture. Now, this pose is not very dynamic. Like, there's some motion going on, but she's static. She's sitting there. She's not actually moving. And so I need to make sure that there's stability in the pose, but also that it's fun and it appears like there's some kind of movement through the forms of the body, even though the body itself isn't moving. So I'm going to start very simple. That's usually what I do. And I do several. And I kind of just warm up to two-way. The point of these isn't to get a really nice gesture drawing. It's to study, right? I'm prepping for a longer effort, and so this is where I want to make all my mistakes. I should probably switch to a black pencil. You guys can't see. What's up? You still have it. I still have it. Am I the cause of all the problems? Oh, I think it's in the trash.
My God.
Kimberly.
It is.
No, I think I threw it away. No, I did not throw it away because I didn't bend it.
Okay.
That wasn't me.
Wait, I can. You want me to fix those sides for you?
What's that?
You want me to cut these for you?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm already here. How's it going, everybody?
Hey. All right. So, oval, the head, right? She's looking this way. So the body is curving this way, right? A little bit. So I want to make sure that I'm capturing this, even though I do see through here, there's like a little indent in the rib cage, then it comes back out. Overall, this is curving. And so I want to capture that motion, and then this way, like so. Thank you. Woo. All right, so do you see how simple I kept it? I'm not worried about anatomy right now. I just want to figure out, like, how is this big shape flowing? And this is generally what I'm seeing. I'm exaggerating it quite a bit, but that's because I want to get that point across in my mind and be like, this is the shape. This is the dynamic shape we want to push towards. And then obviously we have to kind of tame it down later once we add the structure and the anatomy. Things aren't going to be as flowy and so abstract. But this is generally the idea that I'm going to be pushing towards.
I'm back.
Oh, finally.
I ran through the hallway.
So alone.
And nobody came out. So apparently if a disaster happened, nobody would come out in the hallways.
What?
Like if there was a disaster and like a bunch of people were stampeding through the hallways, nobody would come out to be like, what's that? We would all die. Because I was stomping. I was running so hard out in the hallways.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. One pencil is best for drawing from Reza. Black, red, or blue?
Oh, that's what so what color is best for drawing?
Yeah.
Dude.
I want to start you off with the nice, like easy one that has an absolute finite answer.
Oh, okay. So one that has a right and wrong, and if you get it wrong, then your career is over.
Yeah, the one that where everyone's gonna say, like Stan said that red pencil was the best, and he lied to me.
Well, I'm using red, and I'm still alive. So
yeah,
we'll go with red. Red is best.
Yeah, no, Reza. Honestly, the thing that it really comes down to is what works best for you, and then what you're doing at the time. So Stan, do you want to explain why you're using a red pencil?
I like red to explore ideas. I don't know why this is a psychological thing for me, but when I use red, it makes me think like this isn't final. I can mess this up. I could be loose. I can explore. When I use a black pencil, I'm like, oh my God, this has to be perfect. And I don't explore as much. I don't let myself just kind of scribble. This is personal to me. I don't think everybody feels that way. So
yeah, it depends on the person.
Yeah. So this is why I sometimes use a red pencil to explore ideas and do some sketches. In animation, it was used a lot as like an underdrawing because it'll kind of disappear. And then blue is also used often. I mean, I think I have a blue one around here somewhere. No, not really.
It's okay. The blue one doesn't show up on camera. That's literally the reason that comic people in pencils for comics and stuff use blue pencils.
I mean, is that still the case?
I mean, like
I could
now
see the blue pencil just as well as the red pencil on camera. Like
it's definitely there's something about it where it's like reflecting more light. There's some sort of thing to this. Plus, camera technology has also changed now. Like scanners have gotten better. Copiers, cameras in general, more dynamic range.
Okay.
So yeah, we definitely do have some questions. Do you want to pretend like the first part where we had all these technical difficulties didn't happen or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody, we're all going to collectively agree that no technical difficulties ever happened. I didn't run through the hallways. Stan's camera looks perfect.
Yes.
We're gonna start like it's like a whole brand new thing. What's up, guys? We're here in celebration of Black Friday. Right now, there's a 20% off sale. If you like anything that Stan says, there's a whole drawing basics course that you should probably get in on. Right now,
I did mention that.
Oh no, I heard you.
Yeah,
Stan, I was doing a new opening. We could just chop
another
off
one.
The first 14 minutes.
Oh, you're trying to ignore all the technical difficulties, and I messed it up. I understand.
So yeah, no, we definitely have some questions that we can jump into if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so there's a person here who is asking, this is Brenda, which course do you recommend taking after the drawing basics course?
That's a very good question. And I think it depends a little bit, because the basics is kind of like the first one. It gets the beginner's a really good foundation of the fundamentals. And then you kind of have that next level where it spreads a little bit. You have that, you start with that one point, and then you have a few branches that come off of it, and they're all along the same level. And it kind of depends on, one, your interest. Like, what are you most excited to learn? And two, what's your ultimate goal? And so what's more of a high priority for you to learn first? So the options would be figure drawing, right? So if you know you're going to be doing a lot of characters, or if you're going into fine art and you want to do figure stuff, any kind of like animation, concept art where there's people or characters involved, you're going to need to learn how to draw the figure. So that's a big one. But also perspective, and we don't have that one. That one's not done yet, right, Steven?
No. No, it's in the oven right now. We're letting Marshall cook.
Yeah.
There was actually recently, yesterday, there was a person who was on Twitter, a person who's worked on Hell of a Boss, which I'm sure a bunch of you people in here know, a bunch of other big animated properties and stuff. And they were talking about how they need to actually go and learn anatomy. Like, we reached out to them, we talked to them about the course and stuff. And yeah, even if you're a person who's already doing art, you're still going to need to revisit some fundamentals sometimes. So which thing you need to do in this particular time is going to be different. It might be different 6 months from now than what it is right now, while you're already learning a thing.
Yep.
Okay. So Carr asked, do you like Arcane? I loved it. That was an incredible show.
What's that?
That was the animated series, the League of Legends one.
I'm kidding. I have not seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Stan did talk about appreciating the rendering techniques that they were using for that, though.
I did. I like the look a lot.
We have another hard-hitting question from Some asking, if you could be a boat, what kind of boat would you be?
What kind of boat? Probably like one of those paper boats that you kind of set off and it goes onto a little stream.
Okay, I like this. Keeping it to boat, to
fun.
paper, drawing paper.
Fun. Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Cosmic's asking, how much of perspective...
Wait, before you go to that one, I want to just mention what I'm doing here. So I did my general kind of very abstract version of my gesture. And obviously you can tell it's super loose. It's just like my first brain fart on the page. But it gets the idea across of what I'm looking for, right? Like the big curve here over to here. And then there's a bunch of stuff going on in the middle that is kind of just like a big mess. And this stuff, I know I will need to figure out in my value portion of it, because this is just a bunch of blocky values. And the things that I don't like about it, I can hide with the value and how much contrast I put in there. So I could lose a lot of this stuff. Like if I don't like this shape in here grabbing a lot of attention, I could just lose that all into shadow and get rid of all those edges, by keeping the values very similar. And that will take away some of the complexity of all these overlaps and like stuff going over. It's like a big knot. Like if you tie a knot with a rope, like a bulky rope, this is kind of the effect you're getting. It's just like it's messy, and that's fine, but you have full control of this. But one thing I noticed while I was doing this was like, all of this stuff is hiding the body. I need to understand what the body is doing back there. And so now I was like, okay, well, let's do that. Let's just ignore all the stuff in the front and let's figure out what the body's doing, so that once I jump in there later, I kind of have that figured out in my mind already. So I started with just, 2 ovals, one for the rib cage, one for the hips, making sure I'm still keeping this overall gestural flow going through. And I don't know how far I'll take this, but I want to see like which parts can I add to this and not make it feel like it's messy. I want to see like what really about this is making me feel like it's really too messy there in the middle. So I know for sure I like this leg coming out. It's simple. It kind of continues this overall motion this way. And then the head goes back this way, right? So it's kind of this kind of flow throughout the whole thing. And by the way, are you guys able to see my lines very well? I think
the top of the neck on the one you were just drawing, that one's kind of losing it, but everything else is pretty visible to me. And I'll
try to keep it pretty dark. I know that I see it perfectly fine, but then the stream resolution is always really low, and it
Yeah.
kind of messes up the light lines.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and ask the next question.
Okay, so there's so many here. Do you want one that's like a technical kind of one, or how intense of a question do you want in this particular moment?
I'll let you decide.
Okay.
I'm game for anything.
Okay. So Diego is asking, what's the criteria of a good blocking in phase? Like, how do I know that my block in is going well, and how can I improve it?
It's purely your own reaction to it. Like, if you're looking at your drawing and you think, oh, I like it, I like the flow, it looks dynamic, I like the body posture, the body language that's happening there. If you're attracted to the shapes that you drew, then you know it's successful. If you feel like something's off, then you need to keep exploring, figuring out what's going on here. How can you fix it? You know, like one thing I just figured out by removing the arm, you know, I don't have the arm in here yet, breaking up this flow between the leg and the body, is that I actually really like that this rhythm from the leg going up into the rib cage. To me, that's really nice to keep this whole thing fluid. And so now I'm thinking, shoot, like something about this arm, I need to make sure that this vertical is not too distracting to lose this flow through the legs and the hips, because I really like that. And so mental note to myself, right, that I want to make sure that I have this visible in here. It's really hidden because of the values in here are so light that it might be easy to miss that. But when I'm not focused on the values at all yet, I'm just trying to find the flow between the big shapes. This is the kind of stuff you find, and you might want to accentuate that.
Yeah. And like you were saying, this is one of those important things in doing this preparation phase. Yeah.
So you do this until you're confident with the flow, with all the rhythms going through there. And again, don't try to get a nice drawing. I'm just studying. I'm just messing around, seeing what happens when I move things around. And it's like, I felt this was messy, so I'm like, I got to do something about this. I can't just continue on being like, something's up. I need to learn about this pose.
Yeah. I think honestly, that's an important thing in pretty much every stage of drawing, and so many different types of drawing even, is remembering what you're doing in that moment. Sometimes we can just get really lost in like the fun of pushing a pencil around, and we start rendering a thing and stuff. It's not what we're supposed to do at every stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Momo is asking, the scary thing for me when it comes to longer drawings is backgrounds. Any tips on how to even start?
Well, it depends on what your backgrounds look like, because usually when I'll do a drawing like this, you know, I'm kind of fine artsy, you know, with my figure drawings. Rather than being, you know, an illustrator, I'm more of a fine art artist. And so my backgrounds are fairly simple. I don't put some kind of complex environment. Not all. I mean, some in my paintings, sometimes I'll have an actual place that they're located in and they're doing something. But the drawing I'm setting up for, like something like this, where it's just like a study of a person. It doesn't matter where she is. It's her. This whole thing is about her. So the environment is going to be more just about the composition. It's like, where do I place blocks of value to draw the eye? So like, I guess I could show an example. I'm sure you guys have seen this. Hold on. This is probably going to be way too big for the camera. Yeah, this is way too big.
Wait, hold it up in front of your face.
My face. So this is kind of similar. God, now I can't see. To what I'm preparing for. So if you look at the background of this, it's just a bunch of values and gradations, and I put them there like that because I wanted to guide the eye and help the composition. There's a bunch of other variations I could have done that maybe would be better or worse. But that's the one I chose. I did several versions in my thumbnails, and that's the one I I went with. Whoops. But I'll show you once I get to the value studies how I think about that. And it usually is, if it's a simple background like that, it's usually just a value problem for me, and I handle that in the value comp thumbnail stage. If it's a more complicated environment, like I did, if you guys just look up my name and like chopping lessons, I think that's the name of the painting. You'll find a painting I did where like a father is teaching his son how to chop wood, and that has a complex environment. And for that one, the prep work was quite extensive. I had to go, I had to drive around and find a place around me that had like a wooden cabin type of house. And so I went and did some photo shoots, took pictures so I could place a realistic looking cabin. I got my grandpa's bike and I had a little photo shoot with the bike on the ground. I found a place that like a lumber yard, and they had like a pile of wood. Whoops. Did I just, you guys hear? Oh no, it's this one.
No, yeah, it wasn't bad.
This lumberyard had a pile of wood, and I was like, "That's perfect. I'll put that in the background." I took a bunch of pictures of that, and then I started messing with it in Photoshop and doing little thumbnail sketches and just like playing around with where I would put all these things and how they determine the composition. So yeah, it could possibly, depending on how complex your background is, it could possibly take a lot of work to just figure out what the background is and how it will help your story. So yeah, it's up to you though. It's up to you what your background needs. Okay, so I do like this flow of the arm into the hand. I'll probably have this kind of simple though, because I don't want it to lead to this. Right? Like this might feel like this is everything's leading and pointing to the spot. And it's like, it's the foot. Like, is that really what I want to lead the eye?
Yeah,
so
you were choosing the main point that you're choosing to go for is the face, right?
Yes, I do want everything to go up here in the face. Like that's clearly the focal point. I want to make sure things are leading this way, but it's like naturally everything is kind of converging into this point. So in order to hide that, again, later on when I do the value studies, I'll just make sure that I put much less contrast in that area, and simplify some of the stuff going on. Now I do also like this curve of the leg. I'm not sure why, because it goes against this overall flow.
If you're looking at it with the stuff that you talked about from the recent rhythms video that we published, the lesson from the basics course, do you think that it goes into the shoulder more, or is it something about flowing down from the face in that curved line?
What's going from the shoulder?
Like, do you think that the rhythm is going from the foot up into the camera top right shoulder?
In here?
Yeah. Do you think it's that all of those? So it's flowing from the left shoulder down into the foot, right shoulder down into the foot, back, hip, and then down into the foot. That it's those three converging lines, kind of.
I'm thinking that there's several things. That this goes into the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the center of the body is also kind of going into this foot. From the outside into this leg is also going to the foot. Even the hip down here, everything is going in here. Right? It's thick over here and it's thin over here. And so it's like if I simplify this to an even simpler shape, this is what I'm imagining is happening. And everything is doing this.
Yeah.
And so I want to, in my values, kind of knock this back and just make sure that this shape that is going to be somewhat floating up here is stealing the attention. Right? That I have a lot of contrast in that. And that'll probably be fine, because there are things that are also leading up to the head. Like this up here goes up here, and then the arm, I want to make sure I put some things in here that are like that are pointing back up. And then this as well does lead up to the head as well. So it's not everything. So I just want to make sure that I'm aware of this potential actor that might be stealing attention. It's not a problem. You're always going to have these little things, but there's certain things you could do that just kind of mitigate the issue. And it's not
there's a comment from I think Sayuch. Let me know if I got that wrong. How about use the thigh to push attention to head?
This?
Yeah.
Yes. This rhythm generally I like because it goes with the curvature of the torso. So I definitely like that overall. Yeah, all of these verticals kind of pointing up. And also the shadow, this cast shadow. I'm not usually when we're doing these rhythm studies, we don't consider the shadow patterns, but they will definitely guide the eye once we start doing that. And that is pointing up. This whole thing, it's almost like a little arrow. It's like in here, it's like a thing like this, and it just points right up to the head. So that's nice. Yeah, I think. How far are we into this? 38 minutes. I'm pretty confident. I mean, I'd probably spend a little bit more time, maybe doing one more, like larger rhythm study just to get more clarity. But I think you guys get the point. This is kind of what I'm doing. None of these are really beautiful drawings. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. So let's move on to the next. We'll move on to the next one, which is more structural. And I'm gonna. What do I want to do? What is this? Oh, that's my project from the basics.
Yeah, you guys just got a preview.
That's a project coming out in a few days.
Yeah,
we're doing
there's an important one in there. You did add the sink.
I did.
This is very good.
The impractical sink. It made it in.
Did it make it in as a thing that you're asking students to do?
Yes, I told them it's a requirement. Just to make me feel better for making the mistake. The students must also put an impractical sink in their project.
Perfect. Does anyone in the chat here have an impractical sink in their home? If so, where is it? Please, thank you. All right, so what is the thing that we're moving on to now?
I'm going to do some structure studies. I probably won't do too much of this.
Okay.
Because it's not like the structure in here is really that complicated. Almost everything is somewhat vertical.
For this is this something that you cover at all in one of the older Proko courses, maybe like figure drawing or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. If someone was looking for a course right now, what course would you recommend?
Well,
for this kind of subject,
there's two. So the figure course has mannequinization as a lesson in there, and that's a big one. But also the basics course. So it depends on where you're at. If you are really comfortable with the fundamentals and you are not into trying to refine that right now, then go to figure drawing. But we are moving into the perspective section of my basics course, and we will be doing a lot of things that will help you with this.
And just to make sure,
a little bit mannequinization.
Just to make sure everybody knows that course that he's mentioning right now is 20% off right now if you use the code BLACK20 on Proko.com. But it's okay if you think you're already more advanced in the drawing basics course.
No, they're not. So that's a good point. The the drawing basics course, I have 2 levels of every project, and so if you already learned the fundamentals at some point, I give you guys slightly more challenging projects that help you practice those same fundamentals. So you're not just going to be drawing like, all that easy stuff every time.
Yeah, it's not just cubes.
It's not just cubes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just cubes for anyone, even the level 1. I always try to keep it fun for everybody.
Yeah. It's just when people see a thumbnail, and they've dismissed the thing, they think they don't need these lessons. It's way more advanced than what you're imagining for this. And the next time that you try to do one of the level 2 basics assignments, I'm sure there's going to be something where you're like, oh, damn, actually, I'm kind of bad at that. It's important to revisit your fundamentals.
Yeah, there's a good balance of fun and complexity and challenge. I try to keep it challenging, but what's challenging for one person might be really easy for another. So it's always a hard thing to figure out. But
yeah. So there was actually one person who was asking, it was Cosmics. They said, how much of perspective should I study to do mannequinization? The thing you're doing now.
Just so exactly this is the right amount of perspective, and that's how much I cover in the basics course. Because I don't want to compete with like Marshall's upcoming perspective course, which goes into a lot of really technical stuff when you want to do it perfectly precise and you're doing complicated environments and you need to make sure the perspective is perfect. My goal with the basics course is to get you to be able to use perspective intuitively. And so in order to get you to that point, you do need to learn some of the theory, but not a lot of it, just enough. And so that, yeah, I'm only going through just the amount of math that you need in order to understand it, to then make it intuitive. Because everything can be simplified into a box. And so you got to be able to draw a box from any angle, whether it's 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point perspective. Most of the time, I'm going to be pushing for 3 point. Yeah. But we're going to work our way up to 3 point. You don't have to start there.
Yeah. We'll add a point each week.
every lesson, every topic.
Yeah. Talking about like real intense perspective stuff, Zany earlier was asking, do you think architecture is a form of art?
Yeah.
I thought that one would have a pretty succinct answer. There's not much to go into.
I'm not going to go into detail. I think any times a human is being creative and either problem solving or expressing themselves, it's art, in my opinion. There's different levels of definitions to art. There's the capital A art, and there's just like lowercase a art.
I don't like this already. Why are we getting into the alphabets, Tim?
Yeah,
there's too technical for me. I'm an artist.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't need to. It's art. If you're expressing yourself, it's art. So architecture, it almost starts with the word art.
It's architecture.
Yeah, art.
So what are you trying to break down in this mannequinization study?
Well, that's just the Loomis head. So understanding the 3D structure of this head, right? With the gesture one, I just used a simple oval. I didn't really care about the 3-dimensionality of it. I was just looking at like, how does that fit with the flow of everything? But now I'm like, okay, as a 3D object, I got to make sure I can imagine it in space, which way it's pointing, where the major planes are, all that jazz. So this is a Loomis head, and then as I come into here, I'm thinking of the shoulders, and I want to think about the shoulders as a like a 3-dimensional, kind of like a box, but I like to twist them and like grab it. It's like a piece of clay, and I can just pull on those shoulders, right? Because this shoulder's facing us this way. It's not like the shoulders are just like, box, right? You can push this shoulder forward and this shoulder forward, and now you have an arc. And that's kind of what's happening here. And so I want to imagine this shoulder plane doing this sort of thing. And then back there, it's actually just kind of wrapping and going back into space.
I think this is one of those things that people really kind of discount about just jumping into doing a study, is that first part where you can really guarantee a little bit better of a result with just a little bit of practice, because you do so much of the problem solving in those first couple sketches that don't happen in like a normal, just quick sketch. that's under your drawing.
Yeah.
We've all been that person who's like you spent so much time doing a sketch, but you didn't really check any of the things, and so you go to make the final piece, and your sketch sucked. So your drawing sucks, even
That's
though you
never
put
happened to me.
really, because someone earlier was asking if they had missed the kangaroo demo in here.
That's old me.
Oh, okay.
Not the currently existing me. So if you're just talking about the current me, it hasn't happened to me.
I see. Yeah, because we're not our past, you know.
No.
Hashtag not my past.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're so stupid.
Do you want to have any more questions, or do you want to talk through what you're doing right now?
I guess I'll just mention a few things.
Okay.
And then we go back to questions. So there's two things I'm considering here. The big box of the whole figure and the smaller minor boxes of the parts of the body. So the big box I'm talking about is that like we're kind of looking down at her a little bit. Not as much on her head, but definitely down here. I mean, you could totally tell we're looking down at this platform, right? Because we can see the top of it. And then maybe we're almost eye level with her up here. But like, so what I'm saying is that if I were to just put her into a box, it would be something like this.
Can you add some sounds? People really expect sounds from the shorts and stuff now. So
it's always swords. You put so many sword sounds.
The swords crack me up.
They do, man, but they've been messing up all the stuff I've been working on with automating all this stuff.
Oh, does it pop up as like voice sounds?
Yeah, so I'm doing a thing where we're trying to like make our
we want to get
more
available to people in different languages.
Yes, we're trying to do auto dubbing. So I'll make a video in English, and then we have our final video, and then we just put it through my script, and it transcribes it translates it, and then it dubs it in my voice in another language. And one of the important elements on there is for it to separate my voice from all the background sounds and all the background music, so that background stuff could then be applied back to the dubbed voice. Mm-hmm. But all those sound effects that Steven keeps adding, like it thinks that somebody's saying that, and so it always just keeps that in with the voice track.
I love it. It's the best.
You're ruining it. That's like my biggest issue right now. I was like, man, how am I supposed to? I spent hours on it the other day trying to figure it out. But anyway, this is the box that I'm imagining, right? So we're looking down at things more and more as we get down here. But then as we get up towards the head, we're pretty much eye level with her, right? And so as I'm drawing some of the things through here, I'm considering that like we're looking down more and more at those things. But then also of course, considering that like each of these elements are also rotating a little bit. And so, the shoulders are rotating forward more, right? She's leaning forward. That's why we're seeing so much of this top plane, because, otherwise we'd be seeing only a little bit of the top plane in this area. But because she's leaning forward with her rib cage, we're seeing a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm. Someone was asking in the chat here. This was Cass. They're asking why you switched from red pencil to blue.
God, everybody's so focused on these like things.
Why are you using the pencils, man?
Because it's the secret. I didn't want to tell you. If you don't do this, your career is over.
Yeah, you'll notice very specific tools being used in all the Proko videos. So it's much like it's an avatar situation where there are different artists who are able to wield different tools. You'll see Rembert. He's a ballpoint pencil wielder. That's his domain. Stan is colored pencil user.
Oh, hey.
I just I was
Ballpoint.
trying not to talk about it because remember, it will fight you.
Ballpoint. Just a old Bic pen. But no, okay. I just honestly, the thing that went through my mind was like, hey, if we do a thumbnail for this video, it'd be cool if everything was a different color. That's honestly the reason. That's why I didn't say it. I was like, let's just make each one different.
That's the real one, guys. Stan lives. It's always be content. It's good.
I'm embarrassed now.
No, this is a good thing.
Am I just a marketing guy?
This whole video is about planning ahead. This is just an extension of planning ahead. Yeah, no, this is good. I like this. So right now you're like blocking in the box of the torso.
Yeah. And then so everything's kind of going this way. And then now as I go into the hips, it's coming back this way. And I'm not too worried about any of the actual stuff going on. I'm just imagining those hips as a box. And this is directly from the figure drawing course. This is called the Robo Bean in that course. That's
a video that you guys can watch for free on YouTube. But if you've already watched it and you're interested, you could save 20% on that course right now on Proko.com using code BLACK20.
Well, just to be clear, they can watch the free version of that lesson.
That's what I was trying to get past that. Saying they could have watched that, but if they've already watched it.
Oh, well, it's not.
Yeah, but
there's premium content for that lesson.
If you guys do want, however, to see that video, I'm going to go ahead and drop that in here for you guys.
I feel like these hips that I made are probably too small, maybe? I don't know. Maybe a little bit like that.
Yeah, there's a link for you guys in the chat now. Go ahead and just open that one up. Don't leave this stream. Right click, open a new tab, and then just add that to your watch later. Please don't leave.
Oh yeah, no. Why are you sending them away?
I wasn't. I was trying to get them to go to the store.
I'm gonna punch you.
Oh God.
Do you see that? Like,
I can't do that. I can't punch at you because we're not supposed to punch down.
Wow.
Yeah. So Blood Raptor here in the chat saying Blackwing pencils won't make you any better. I tried.
They won't make you better.
No, in all honesty though, Blackwing pencils are actually really confusing. Stan and I were talking about this recently.
I really like the quality of the Blackwing pencils, but I don't like the system. So if I'm doing something where I need to switch from like lighter to darker to darker to darker, I don't use Blackwing for that. But if I'm just doing some sketch and I'm just going to be using the same pencil the whole time, I do like Blackwings. They're really silky and like smooth.
They're good pencils. It's just knowing what's
got one right in front of me.
Yeah.
I always got one next to me.
It's just knowing what's what in an actual real scale is kind of a pain.
Let's see, do I have the other ones? I do. I have all of them right here.
Yeah, and we don't know the difference between any of them.
Wait, there's another one. Where is it?
Ghidra in the chat here showing how fancy they are, saying mouse wheel click opens up automatically in a new tab. Not everyone has a mouse wheel, Ghidra. Check your privilege.
What? So these are the three different ones. There's the gray one, there's this brown one, and then there's this black one. And they're all different, and I don't know exactly. I always forget which one's which. I still don't remember. Do you remember? We went over this a few days ago.
Yeah, we went through it, and it's still coming out the other end of it. The only thing I remember of it is it's unknowable, and I just ditched all the planning and like science we did for this.
Yeah, the one thing I do remember is that they're all pretty soft. Even the one that they have labeled like as their firmest or whatever, it's still pretty soft compared to an HB or an H or 2H. Like they don't go that light. So if you're doing some real light, subtle halftone shading, do not use a Blackwing because they're meant for more like looser, sketchy kind of stuff. And for that, they are actually really, really nice.
Yeah. So from this, what would be what's the next thing? Or do you kind of like trace out the flow of it, or do you just draw the boxes and try to connect those?
I am considering what I learned about the flow from the previous one, but I'm not necessarily drawing that. I'm just trying to figure out my planes, my big planes in here.
Okay.
Because this will affect how I do my value study, right? Because I want to make sure I'm in my values, I'm considering the big plane changes, and also the overall composition. Okay, the other major shape in here that I feel like needs to be considered is the cylinder of this leg. It's coming at us. Pew, 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 pew. There. Cylinder leg. It's coming at us. It's probably not enough. I probably needed to make this a little bit more
exaggerated, a little bit more.
Yeah, because I'm seeing like almost a circle here. It's like.
To follow up on the pencil conversation, Dean in the chat is asking, how do the Blackwing pencils compare to Faber-Castell Pitt matte pencils? Blackwings aren't easily obtainable here in UK, while Faber-Castell are at every corner more store or less.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't use the Faber-Castell.
The one thing I would say is that their pencils, the Faber-Castell ones, those have an understandable scale. So if we're just talking about it purely on that level,
yeah,
go for those.
That's good. I've heard they're good, but honestly I don't have much mileage with them, and so I can't really give you my opinion. When I need my full range and when I'm shading, this is my go-to. This is what I use. Just the Staedtler pencils, and they come in a full set. Oh, I'm missing one. Here it is. Found it. Yeah, this is the set. This is my go-to. I've been using this for 20 years.
This one set.
This one set, and this is as far as I've gotten. This is as much as I've used.
You guys have to go watch the Proko sharpening videos to learn how to get these pencils to last that long.
Yeah. 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 I also really like. I had a phase where I was using these woodless ones for almost exclusively. They're the monoliths, and I still really like them. I do enjoy the feel of the weight. It's a slightly different weight because they don't have any wood. It's just pure graphite. And so you do have more of the side. If you ever want to use the side, you can sharpen it kind of like a charcoal pencil and use it similar to that. So that's one good thing. The weight, and they also look cool.
Yeah, I do agree with this one. You get to feel fancy, and it's so hefty too.
Yeah, it's slightly heavier, so it just feels like more significant. But
yeah, we do have some questions kind of backing up here, but I don't want to hold you.
Do it. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Do you want to?
One thing I want to mention is that this cylinder is not just to imagine it. Like, look at this cast shadow. This is absolutely going to be revealing this cylinder. So I got to make sure I figure out what is the perspective of this leg so that I can use this cast shadow to show the cylinder of this leg. And then also, I know it's kind of hard to see it, but there is a shadow on the front of the knee here. And so I want to make sure that once I start putting these shadows in, I'm considering how this shape of the shadow is revealing this front cap. And so I will definitely try to make it parallel with this arc of the lips. So this is the knee.
So there's some questions here. One's from Leishiro, which they're asking, what is your advice for new students who are afraid of critique? It's brave of you to ask, Leishiro, because he could give you a scathing critique.
I'm gonna break you down. Destroy you right now. Everybody go to his Instagram and just leave a comment. That's really, really nice. I had 2 paths to go there.
I think you took the right one. I think
that was good.
Yeah.
yeah, jeez.
I think so. There's a couple things in there
I'm
to
not
kind of address.
I don't know, man.
'Cause
You're more of the psychiatrist. Psychologist? Psychologist? I don't even know the right word.
Yeah, it goes back and forth.
Which one's
no,
the one that prescribes medication?
I think it's a psychiatrist.
Okay, so I'm not a psychologist.
God, I don't
'Cause
know.
I
so
wasn't implying that you need medicine to.
Yeah. We're not medical professionals. That's all we've got here. But no, there's a thing that you said in there that I think kind of informs the rest of the question. I believe you asked what's a new artist, what should a new artist do if they're afraid of critique? That's kind of part of it. You're new. You haven't gotten any critiques yet. Not all critiques are bad. The whole point of a critique, even if there's someone who's really mean about their critique, there's probably still something in there that you can use. So even if someone is being actively, intentionally rude in their critique, like try to do your best to shove that off and find the useful thing. Show them who's boss and come back with even better art later.
Show them who's boss.
Yeah, like what's success is the best revenge, right? Get some critiques, get some experience with it, ask for a question or for help from people who you know will be honest, because like someone just being nice and not giving you a real critique isn't useful.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's an important point. Is that a critique isn't about being praised and just saying everything's nice, but it's also not about just giving you all the bad stuff. It is important to know what you did correctly so that you keep doing that. And then also to know what you did wrong so that you can improve on it. It's not the mistakes you make in your drawings are not a representation of you, right? These failures are not you. Okay. I am not the kangaroo. But because I've moved past it, right? You can you guys know what I'm saying. You don't judge your own value based on like the one drawing you did today. Just say, oh, I messed up. What did I do? And just learn from it and try to just have fun making mistakes. Be a rebel and be like, yeah, I messed up. That's right. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, no, as long as you still keep making stuff and just be aware of the things you've messed up on, it's the best thing you can do. Jump in, get critiques when you can. If you do want to get critiques, there is a very good place that you can do that. Let's see here.
Is it Proko?
It's Proko.com/community.
Oh, does that link work?
Proko.com/community?
Yeah,
I believe I've used it.
Oh.
Now I gotta check. Now you scared me.
I don't know, man. Does it work? Go to Proko.com/community.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, everyone in the chat, go to Proko.com/community. Let us know if it works.
No, I did not do that on purpose. Can you guys, by the way, can you guys just check for us? Does it work?
Yeah, please. Can you try that?
Let us know in the comments.
I dropped it in the chat here. Can you guys see if that works? I'm trying. It's not loading for me. So
and see if our sign up form is working.
Yeah.
Registering for a new account. We don't know if that works or not.
Yeah, please, thank you.
But yeah, no, you test our shopping cart as well. Like if you buy something and let us know if it goes through.
We've been having a big trouble recently with the promo codes. If you guys could go buy something and use code Black20, that would be great.
Yeah, it keeps making more off than 20. It keeps giving people a bigger discount than intended.
Actually,
and it's really random. Sometimes it gives like 95% off. I don't know what's up.
There was we should address this. There's a hidden promo code in the ad that, as far as
why are you saying
nobody has used yet.
No one? Wait, no one has used it?
As far as I'm aware,
wow,
no one
we
has
hit it
used
well.
the hidden promo code from the Black Friday ad that we posted.
I'm actually surprised.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys want to, after the stream, check that video and look for the hidden promo code.
That's crazy.
It'll get you a little bit more off on things.
Okay, so one other thing I learned about this is that like this leg is just really awkward. It doesn't feel awkward in here, but when I place it like that, it just feels weird. Now, one thing is that it doesn't feel like it's connecting to the hip. So like, putting it, this thing I think is important, the actual inside of the thigh. But also I definitely placed it too far in, right? Because in the photo, it's kind of aligned with the center line, but mine is like way far in. So proportion wise, this is, I think, really far off. And I'm aware of the issue, the mistake that I made here. It's like forcing into her body, but I'm fine with it. Usually, if I was not doing a live stream and I didn't want to waste time, I would do another one. I would be like, shoot, I want to do a better one. But I'm not gonna make you guys sit through this again because I'm literally gonna do the exact same thing. I'm just going to fix the placement of the leg.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is, you make mistakes. Guaranteed, you will make mistakes. And you need to make those mistakes during the studies. This is where that's the whole point of doing these studies, is that you can make as many mistakes as possible. You can catch them. And then when you start on the longer one, you are aware of the things that you're likely to mess up again. And so you try to avoid making those mistakes.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's about it. I'm not going to do the arms. They're just vertical.
Yeah, you know the arms.
They're just vertical cylinders. I would just draw that. The hand. Oh, I would do a hand study, because this hand in particular is another one that I would probably put a bunch of detail in, and I would do like a little anatomy and structural study of the hand specifically before I start up on the. Actually, let me just do a really quick one. I'm not gonna go do as detailed as I would probably. Let me get the bigger version.
Yeah, it's an important thing, I think, to nail the hands and the face. Was it Norman Rockwell who was talking about?
That was Jesus.
Oh, he talked about the hands and the face?
Well, his hands got.
I don't remember the part of the book. I read that book, man, and I don't remember it.
You don't remember when his hands got nailed? Was that too far? Did I go too far?
I'm going to leave it like dead silent after this. But no. In all seriousness, there's a quote from, I believe it's Norman Rockwell, who's talking about the importance. Like, people will forgive you for not nailing all of the detail of the other placements of things in the form, but you have to get the face and the hands because that's where people look. Someone tell me if that wasn't Norman Rockwell. I believe it was Norman Rockwell, though.
I think like 1,000 artists have said that.
I do agree on this.
So you could, yeah. If he wasn't quoted as saying that, he probably said that at one point in his life.
Let's see.
Actually, I made the mistake that is very, very common, which is I'm reducing the amount of foreshortening on the cube that I'm drawing. So I had to shorten it up again. This cube part of the arm, the hand is foreshortened. It's coming at us. And so I need to make sure I catch that effect. Pew, 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 pew. Typing a lot.
Yeah, dude, this mic arm, the mic arm that I have is so cheap. So even though the mic rejects so much other sound, it's just like an earthquake going up through the arm of it. I gotta change it. Stan, is this model reference that you have here? Is that from something that we saw?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This was something that this is femaleanatomyforartists.com. I was talking to them a while ago on collaborating, but I know he gave me permission to use his stuff. But yeah. Okay. Female Anatomy for Artists. He's got a lot of reference. It's also like, I think, what is it, 3DSK? Let me see.
I don't know. But yeah, honestly, one of the biggest questions that we get pretty often is where we get our reference from that we use in different videos. The short answer is a lot of places. It really depends. Sometimes a couple of the most frequent used ones for us are the Satine reference and Graphite, which are both available to buy in promo packs on the Proko website, which you can use that coupon code for. But other than that, there are a lot of free things out there that you guys can find. There's so many. that it kind of depends on what the thing is that you're looking to draw in that moment. Sometimes it's not a person, and so you need different reference that isn't people. Yeah. Let's see. I wonder if there are any questions I can
forgot
answer.
the name of the main site that this guy owns, but Female Anatomy for Artists.com is his site. But he has he's got like 5 sites. It's like female anatomy, male anatomy, just anatomy for comic artists, and they're like different websites for some reason for like different purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But then I do think he's got like a home hub as well, but I forget. But anyway, it's a good site. He's got lots of stuff.
Yeah. So you were saying that you were making a classic mistake when drawing a hand as a mannequinization?
Yeah, I already mentioned it. Like I was drawing this box almost like looking straight down, like as if we're looking, if it was turned more like this instead of like this. But, so I just shortened it quite a bit now.
Yeah.
And
I've got a couple questions that I think can be little rapid fire answers. So person, I don't have the name here, but they're asking, will you teach how to animate in the future?
Me? I don't know. No, probably not.
Okay. Do you think that there's an animated course in the future for Proko?
That potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Just generally an animation course, yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to get all the behind the scenes secrets from you for people here. Yes, It's a thing that we're talking to people about. Suze is asking, can I jump from drawing anime and comics to drawing real people?
Yeah. If
Absolutely.
you get your fundamentals down, you can draw. You can switch styles pretty fast. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, the answer is yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you start drawing more like cartoony, simplified stuff, chances are a lot of that applies to drawing more realistic forms and vice versa. Drunk Fish 666 is asking, is it better to print out reference or can you draw from screens?
I prefer to draw from screens. The reason is just like we've been having an issue trying to figure out how to using StreamYard and how to just overlay the digital version of this for you guys. So it's easier for me to just like print it out and then show you what I'm talking about on a stream. And I could like point with my pencil. I'll be like, this is what I'm talking about. And like this part of the knee. Whereas if it was digitally overlaid on screen, I wouldn't be able to point to stuff and all that.
Yeah. It's something that it'll definitely get sorted in the future. It's just right now, printing it out is great. Blood Rapture in the chat with a very recent comment saying, by the way, your drawing facial features videos were super helpful and changed my nose game forever. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Blood Rapture.
Yeah, Blood Rapture.
While you're working on this one, this might be something that's like basically you saying some stuff you've already said on Draftsman before. This is Jake O. Jams. Any suggestions on how to try and balance your artistic work life with being physically active and healthy?
Work-life balance. Yeah, we definitely have an episode on work-life balance. But one thing is that like sometimes perfect balance is not possible. You have to sacrifice some things that are more important for other things that are less important. You have to prioritize. So, it depends on what's important to you. Everyone's going to have a different balance of what that even means.
I think you found a great success, I think, right now with making it like a hard schedule for you to fit in exercise while still getting to do all the rest of the stuff that your day requires. Because you just made it a thing where it's like, this is the time that I do exercise every day. Building out what your day is in a way that's actually an achievable schedule, even if that's like a bullet points, loose time kind of thing, it makes a big difference. Also, the recommendation that I have eternally heard but have never put into place myself is to do your exercise in the morning. Stuff will always get in the way later on in the day. John here. Oh, were you gonna say more?
Not really. We have an episode on it, and also it's more about prioritizing rather than balancing. To me, that's the key thing, because if you think that you're ever going to be able to have a perfect balance, you're just going to be sad all the time because you don't have a perfect balance. And so that's just like a recipe for disaster.
This is very true. It's going to be hard. There's a person in the chat. Looks like it's Daniel. They're asking. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the wrong one. There's a different person in the chat asking about what books you recommend for art. You guys can find out pretty easy. There's a whole page.
Proko.com/books.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a question that comes up pretty often. What tools do you use? What books do you recommend? Proko.com/books, and then Proko.com/materials. Then there's also materials 3. It really depends.
Anyway, this is the hand. It's quick. Okay,
that's a hand.
That's the hand.
Oh, actually, no. I like. Is this was it like a really intentional choice for between the index and middle finger for you to have that lost edge? Is it because you're going to simplify it?
Index and middle.
Yeah.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I might even lose in here between these two. I just felt like these two. I always look for areas especially in the shadows, where I can combine fingers, because I don't want just 4 separate fingers. In fact, I was trying to erase this line in here and see like if I just lose that line completely and just pick it back up again up here.
Yeah,
that would be fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't want just like 4 sausages repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this one of my favorite things is like a tactical usage of a lost edge. And I think these are great places for this.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So that's a hand. What's next?
Okay. What is it next?
What is that? Wait. So, question: do you have to change pencils now for the sake of thumbnails?
Yes. I'm gonna switch to the Olo pencil.
Oh, I like this idea though. I like us getting to make an Olo pencil with them. I don't necessarily.
No, I'm just kidding. These are markers. These are markers. In fact, it's the Olo Proko set.
What?
Wait, what?
What?
No, yeah.
Yeah, no, we actually got to do we got to team up with Olo to make this set of markers. Actually, more than one set of markers.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this cable.
Well, Stan has headphones off and stuff. We got to team up with them. They were actually the booth also behind us here recently at Lightbox. We worked with them to make a set of grays and then also a Zorn palette that Stan got to put together with them. They're like dual tipped markers that have just as much in them as any marker you've ever used, but they're better.
They are better.
They're really freaking good, guys. This is like, I don't get any money off of this or anything. Like, I just think that they're very good.
We made a Zorn. Shoot, where's the book? Okay. Anyway,
no, there's no book.
There's no little booklet. There is, but it fell out somewhere else. Anyway, this is the Zorn palette. I put this set together. In each side is a different color, and it basically is the range of colors that you would get from the Zorn palette with like oil paint or gouache. So anyway, I'm not going to use this one today, but I just wanted to say it is something, and I don't think we have it on the site yet, do we?
I put a link up on there for the web page that has just the markers in general, but
it doesn't have the Zorn set.
No, currently it's just that gray palette.
Yeah, but we will add it soon. We already have Olo already has that shopping cart ready.
Yeah,
to buy that set, but
it's just not.
We just haven't put it on our website yet. But anyway, I am gonna use the gray set, the Proko gray set, and the Proko gray set is 3 different gray sets. It's the cool, and I wish I could focus up here because the camera
just like pull it out and show it to the camera.
Oh, actually,
nailed it.
Oh, there's 3 different sets.
You're losing those markers though. They're slowly journeying down.
The warm, I know, I see it. The cool, the warm, and the red. So the reason I like that is because you can stay with just grays, but then like for the shadows, you can use the warm, for the lights, you use the cool, and then you have a little bit of that color contrast to separate it. Or for shadows, you use cool, and for, you swap it. Or you can also use warm in the lights and red in the shadows. So overall, the whole thing is warm, but even warmer in the shadows or something like that. So anyway, that's why I do that, or that's why I made this size, because I like the combinations of the slightly different temperatures, but still gray. I'm going to start with pencil, and then I'll switch over to the markers as I explore. So when I do a study with a value study, the first thing I start with is figuring out how I'm going to break down the shapes into extremely simple shapes, so I don't have to redraw everything multiple times, complicated, because I will have to redraw this stuff, this whole pose multiple times, and I want to be able to do it quickly so I can explore. So what I typically do is I'll like squint and also just like use what I already learned about the shapes. Like I know that it's something like this, right? I in my gesture study that I did, I've already figured out this shape. And so now I'm just going to simplify, because this could be super abstract. I don't care if it looks like a person. I want to just see how values are affecting where the eye is looking compositionally. So I got the shapes. That's pretty much it. That's the shapes. Now I want to figure out, where do I put the values? So I squint, and what I'm seeing in the head is like, a shape up here that's pretty dark. And then a shape in the face over here that's pretty light. And so I'm going to start with, let's actually start with just two values. For this first one, we're going to do just two values, and then we'll make it a little more complicated. So I'm going to group the hair with the shadow of the skin, because I want to just explore light versus dark right now.
And you're sticking with the pencil just for simplicity's sake, since it's just the two?
I want to show them both versions of what I do, because sometimes I'll do markers to do this study, and sometimes I'll do pencil. And so I want to show both.
There was a question earlier about if we'll have like a digital drawing course with Photoshop, Clip Studio, Procreate, or anything like that. We do have a course on Proko. That's one that covers digital art, digital painting, with John Nymeister. But that's not the only thing that we'll ever have for this. If there's a person who's looking for some Procreate stuff, we've been poking into that a little bit more recently, making sure that we have a reason to talk about Procreate for us. There are a lot of Procreate tutorials out there. We want to make sure that it's something that we can talk about in particular. But for those people who are using Procreate and using it in a big way, you guys are probably interested in Procreate Dreams, which we have a video out about today, the day before it comes out. We got to talk to Aaron Blaze, who did that super awesome little penguin animated short that they used during the reveal of Procreate Dreams. We got to talk to him during Lightbox, and he did a demo of that. That's brand new right there on the channel. People seem to be really liking it. During the thing, I kept asking like 1 million questions about it. Because
that's your voice, huh?
All throughout that video, so many times.
Yeah.
Because I like seeing it in action. I'm only more intrigued now than I was hearing about it when it first got teased. You can use all of the Procreate brushes that you can use normally, even like the super crazy, like gonna mimic oil paints kind of ones. You can use those in animation, even on a pretty old iPad like mine. So I dropped a link to that video here in the chat if you guys are interested in it. Right click or use that center mouse click like Guidra was talking about earlier. to open in a new tab and save it to your watch later. Because right now you're here in the live stream. Be here in the live stream. Stay in the live stream.
Don't please.
So do you normally, when you're making one of these, is it something that you block in the shapes and then color it in, or do you ever find yourself going back to it to use an eraser?
I almost never use an eraser. If I mess something up, I'll probably just like start another one. I keep exploring. These are going to be real quick. Like you can see how simple I'm keeping it. I mean, I might like if I just want to do a real quick adjustment to a shape. I think I did use the eraser. I adjusted that shape a little bit. Let me see. Where is it?
What are you looking for?
My little eraser tool. Hold on, I'll find it.
He's looking for his tools. Alpha 45 asking, I heard you're teaming up with Apoyo Loco to create un poco Proko. No, we're not going to make a small Proko. We're not going to make a small Proko, but we do, however, have
El Proko Loco.
We do.
Wait, what did he say?
They asked if we were going to team up with them to create un poco Proko. No.
Un poco Proko?
That's a small Proko.
No. Poco Proko. No, it's El Proko Loco.
Yeah, that's the one we got.
We do have that like 10 years ago. I was like, we should have a Spanish version of all our videos. And I registered the YouTube channel called El Proko Loco. And then eventually we're like, that's probably not a good idea.
No. Yeah.
Who in the comments, who here would be offended by that?
Oh, no, it looks like, wow, it's weird. We're on like a delay, but all of them are saying, yes, I would be offended already.
Already?
No, they're not.
Oh. I can't find my little eraser.
I'm so sorry, man. You got to slum it. You got to use the one on the back of your pencil.
Oh, I know where it is. It's in my little tool set box thing.
Okay, guys, while Stan doesn't have headphones on, this is why you don't use fancy tools. You become accustomed to them, and then you need them. Just use your little gummy eraser that you got. Thank you guys for mentioning whether or not you would be offended. So Stan, we have one person here, OG1 Kenobi, a real stream attendee, saying that they would be offended if we didn't do it.
Oh, we have to. I don't want to offend anyone.
OG1 Kenobi has one of the best YouTube screen names I've seen in here. I love it so much.
That's not original. I don't think he came up with that.
No. It's just really good.
Oh, did you say OG1 Kenobi?
Yeah, OG1 Kenobi.
Oh, that is good.
It's good.
That is original.
Yeah. So here's your fancy pencil.
It's OG.
Fancy eraser.
So this is it's a little eraser. It's really small. And it's a mechanical. So it's a mechanical eraser. So you can beep, 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 beep. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the eraser's coming out.
Yeah.
And then I can go, where did it go? Beep. Oh, what? It doesn't go back in? Oh, I wasn't pushing it. Sorry, I wasn't pushing it. But yeah. And then you can carve back in and draw with that. So it's really nice because you don't have to keep sharpening it. But you also can, if you really need like a super sharp part of it, I use a razor blade and I just chop it, and then I have a super sharp tip. But
yeah, for times when like you want to use a kneaded eraser, but it's not like when you go to use that little fine point that you made and you just like smash it into the paper and the fine point is gone. Something like this is really good.
So I'm trying to figure out what kind of shapes I want. Where do I want the little floating shapes? Where do I want to mass things together and lose those little floating shapes? That's what I'm doing. So if you notice, like in here, I put like a little floater in the hand, put a little floater up here, put a little floater down here. And so far, I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of liking that I'm bringing attention in here and losing a lot of stuff in here. So far, I haven't really strayed too far from the photo reference. It's pretty close to what I'm actually seeing, other than I don't want to draw this platform. I think that's kind of silly. I'll put her on the ground. The only thing is like, what's going on with like
the hand? Like hand. How do you choose to change that? Yeah.
So I'll probably just make it like the edge of a stage or something. So this
Like a
will just
box.
be like, yeah, exactly. And she's sitting on there. But and even that could just be implied with a very, very subtle thing, like just a line, like that. Like it doesn't have to be anything extreme, and that's enough.
Actually, I am curious here. I want to get this in there while we're still like a little bit close to this topic. What's the weirdest tool that you guys in the chat use? Like, what's that thing that you have that whenever you show it to somebody, it's like, wait, what? What is that thing?
The weirdest tool?
Yeah. So like you've seen for me, I have that one perspective tool that I use, the perspective divider.
Okay.
That's probably the weirdest one that I've got.
You actually use that though?
Oh yeah, yeah. Since art school, that was my teacher Joko. He talked about this. And
Joko is a comedian.
Jokoi.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think Joko Buodino. I forget his last name. He's put out a couple books actually on perspective. He's really good at what he does. But yeah, what are the weird tools you got? Stan's got this eraser, and there's definitely some other stuff. It's a good pen marker ASMR.
Okay, so I'm gonna do another one. I got way too many tools here. They can't see it, but
no, your desk looks so clean right now.
No, it doesn't. I think it's falling down. Okay, so I grabbed the warm gray 5, and I'm gonna start pretty much the same thing in here, but then I'm gonna do a different one now, where I'm gonna try to do something in the background that's not just white. I'm gonna see how can I guide the eye. But I'll start with pretty much the same thing. And this is why it's important to start with some really simple shape and not overcomplicate. Because you want to be able to iterate and try different things out pretty fast.
Look at how fast these markers write. Look at that. So slick.
What?
John Weber in the chat nailed it on the name. It's Joko Budiono. That's my perspective teacher.
Wow. How did he know that?
I think I might have given enough, or they went to the same school. It's not like I went to a very exclusive school or anything. Let's see. Jai is asking, how much do we lose if we don't get the Proko Premium as a learning perspective?
You lose a career.
Ooh. Well, I would. If you don't buy it, I will lose a career, guys. They won't have any money to pay me.
It's different for every course. I mean, some courses are almost completely premium, where there's almost nothing on YouTube available. Other courses, most of my courses, I give away like half of the content for free, and you get a lot of the lessons are extended a little bit, and then you get demonstrations for every lesson, and then you get critique videos, more projects, stuff like that. So you just get more of that long form content, because on YouTube we pretty much exclusively do the 15-minute lesson, right? That's very fast paced, and here's the information. But then the next step in every topic that we do in premium is okay, now let's slow down. Here's your homework. Let's practice. And then when they practice, people in the community, they submit, and then I'll demonstrate that as well after they're done doing it, and then I make a critique video with their assignments. And so it's, if you want more of that, hey, Lau, let's slow down and actually try to spend some time improving on each of these things, that's where you'll get that in the premium. But if you're more of just no, I just need the 15-minute lesson with the information, then you're getting a lot of it in free. But obviously not everything, because gotta make that, you gotta feed all those babies being born.
Yeah.
Freaking
Everyone keeps freaking having babies. John here secretly he lives in this space. John could be on here right now defending himself and making it make sense why he keeps having so many babies.
Well, it's only 2. Sean
Yeah,
is the one that has 3. He just has
I guess, yeah, technically, Sean and I are tied if we're counting dogs. We don't.
That's true. I have you all beat though. I have 2
Wait.
kids and 2 dogs. So I have 4 kids.
We have an update from John. He's saying, I'm never having another baby.
Good.
So some people did mention the tools that they use here. Bob says the weirdest tool that he has is probably a navigation ruler. I don't think I know what that even is.
That is weird. I've never heard of that.
Let's
either.
see. Navigation ruler. We're all gonna type in navigation ruler. Everyone here in this chat.
Let's see. What?
And bring up what it is. Oh no, that is a cool one. Yeah. This is the ruler. It's like 2 rulers connected by these 2 little parallel lines. So you can end up like moving it like this. Stan, if you look up.
What?
So there's like 2 rulers that are connected by 2.
Oh yeah, and it
go,
makes parallels. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen that.
Yeah, those things are incredible. Someone else mentioned their Fuda pens, which are absolutely amazing. We all know how great the Fuda pens are. Let's see.
9.
I think those are the main tools that people mentioned. So yeah,
that third value.
While you're doing this, do you have any specific things you want to say about it, or should I start giving you some of these backlog questions?
So I'm adding the third value. Mostly, it's going to be in the hair, and I'll put just a few little floating shapes in the features, and then maybe I'm going to figure out where else I can put them in. Potentially the background. Like if I will explore several options here. Like, do I want to make the background behind her darker than the shadow? Or do I want to make it the same value as the shadow and just lose it into the background completely? So these are all things that I want to explore before I start the final drawing, right? Because it's like that'll make a big difference in the composition.
Absolutely.
So like here. I'm seeing some really darks in like the crevices in here, but it's like, how much do I want?
For the technical people out there, what would that kind of area be called?
That shadow? Occlusion?
Yeah.
Every time?
Yeah.
Yeah, occlusion shadow. You testing me, bro?
No. I'm trying to get you to bring up stuff. Every once in a while, there's some person who decides to bring up like a more technical term in the comments on TikTok or something like that. And so often they use some of these wrong. Be like, this guy's trying to teach me to like mention ambient occlusion, but it's just a video that has like a cube in it. There's no space for ambient occlusion or occlusion shadows.
I see.
Yeah, buttholes in the TikTok comments. Unless anyone here is the people in the TikTok comments, in which case, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching the video.
Actually, if you guys don't know, we are on TikTok. We never talk about this. We kind of let TikTok, Twitter, and
we just think
else.
about it. We don't talk about it.
No,
oh, stupid. I'm sorry.
It was so good. But yeah, no. If you're a person who likes different platforms and stuff, we're on Instagram. We exist on Twitter, but I mean, none of us are really over there now. We have a TikTok.
Instagram? Did you say Instagram?
No, Twitter. X.
Twitter. Oh, okay. Yeah. Twitter. I'm a user. I view it for the news because like honestly, like no other social network really gets the news like Twitter, but I don't post on there as much for like
that part is great. I follow all of my favorite animation people and everything on there. It's just it's not the place where people are choosing to come follow us, you know?
That is true. Which is sad. You guys should follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. It's Proko TV everywhere. Come on over. But yeah, we're on Instagram. Obviously, we're on YouTube. That's the place where you're watching us right now, where you should subscribe if you're not already. And then we're on Facebook, but again, nobody posts there. And we are on Threads. So if you guys want to follow us on your favorite social network of choice, we're just not on Snapchat. If we do, there are some other questions if you want to hit any of these.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Beanstack, another great YouTube name, is asking, what's the purpose of the proportion exercise? In the drawing basics course, is it to help judge angles or get a good portrait?
The proportions exercise? From basics.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I missed the.
Yeah, no,
beginning.
there's a little. It was a journey, but yeah, what's the purpose of the proportions exercise?
To help you judge your proportions better. I guess I don't understand. Is there anything beyond that they're expecting?
I'm honestly not too sure. I think
'Cause that's a
if
huge one.
if we're just looking at like what you've done in this one so far,
Mhm.
like let's take it as just being the first part where you were looking at doing a study of this. What was the
Yeah.
reason for you to first do that like initial like little block
In here?
or in the
that
previous
original?
pages?
Well,
Yeah.
that wasn't for proportions. That was gesture. This was just figuring out the flow. You can see I didn't even do a head on this one. I just did an arrow because I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm capturing this overall S curve rhythm in through here. But this was structure. This was structure of the hand, and now I'm doing values. But like in all of these, the proportion kind of needs to be close, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't understand.
I think it's
anything
okay.
beyond proportion. What it could be like.
Yeah.
You need
If
to
you-
make sure that your proportions are correct.
If you guys want to bring up anything in here to further explain that one, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to go to another one. Dean is asking, I have a question about drawing basics course. How many sections in total will there be?
So we started with line, then we moved to shape. Now we're in perspective. And it's where we're learning 1, 2, and 3 point perspective. Then we're going to go into intuitive perspective, where we are trying to put aside the math and try to make it something that we can just imagine and do intuitively. Kind of like what you see like Peter Han, Kim Jong-gi, Rembert, Montal, like they do it really loosely, but they're still getting the effect across very well. So that's 4, and then edges. Sorry, values first, then edges. And so values and edges are pretty much shading and rendering. So, but we're going to focus on each one and how they both affect your shading.
It's going to be a good chunk of the next while of your art learning time. Is what it really comes down to. Dean, I'm assuming that's one that you've been kind of looking at, kind of considering buying. For anybody else here in the chat, like, is there anything that you've been eyeing in particular, especially during this Black Friday sale? Love to hear about it. Yeah.
See, I'm trying to figure out the values of this bottom area right now. So I think I'm going to do something like this. Mostly dark. And then trying to figure out where do I want those darkest darks within the body. And see how like this shape in here for this leg and the hand, it's like not, the proportions are way off and it's throwing me off a little bit, but I am not too worried about it in this stage. I am more concerned about the value composition and how it's leading the eye. But yeah, like with the question with the proportions, like that is kind of throwing me off a little bit. In fact, I think I want to maybe do that.
Okay, you're gonna throw that back into shadow also?
Yeah, the hand back here. I'm going to throw that into shadow and then pick up the light on the hand. Sorry, the wrist is in shadow. The hand I'm putting into the light. And then this is the kind of the leg over here. This whole area.
And did you talk at all about like the final piece this will be? Like, how long are you really going to spend on that?
I'm not sure. This could potentially end up being the cover of Imagine Effects magazine, but maybe not. they contacted me and potentially I'll do it, but I'm not sure. I haven't said yes yet.
Yeah. This one, I think, I can imagine this being a much longer piece for you, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I know that you'll end up posting it online, but I do hope that it is out there, because it's always nice to get one of those cool covers from some artist that you like. Like, it's like half the reason. Every issue of Imagine Effects typically has some kind of good knowledge in it, but that cover is also pretty nice.
I've done 2 of them already.
What?
Yeah.
When did you do these?
Hold on.
Guys, I did it just to make him go grab it. He doesn't know. Let's see. We had Jinin asking, what markers are you using? This is a Olo marker set that we developed with him. It's got a few different gray sets in there, so you get to use it for a lot more wider purposes. CMC, yes, there are new Draftsman episodes. It's just something that we do as they kind of come up, as they feel that there's actually something that they can really add some sort of discussion to. We don't want it to just be something that they do just because, and it's not like a high quality episode. I'd like that. I'm sure you guys would like that, but Marshall and Stan don't want to do that one. Ooh, Jintaro said that he just treated himself to some of the photo reference sets. That's a good choice. Dude, there's some good ones in there on Proko.
So this was the first one, or no, maybe the second one I did. I don't know if I was on the cover on the first one I did. I know I did a thing on the inside, but this was the cover of one of them, and then this, this is the same one, but just kind of like a clean version.
Yeah. Wait, so the thing that you have here, it's written on there. What's that say on the cover?
Get better at anatomy.
Yeah, people could do that at proko.com/anatomy for 20% off right now with code BLACK20.
Right here.
Yeah, the anatomy course is one of like our biggest ones.
Better at anatomy. Yeah, pretty much this. Oh, hey, like I flipped right to it. Pretty much this whole article is just stuff from my anatomy course. Look at that. Look at that. So this is a little study you could do if you're doing a figure drawing. Like, can you imagine if you did a study like this before doing a rendered piece up, like how much more prepared you would be with all of the subtlety within the shoulders and the erectors and all that. Like, this is what I'm talking about of doing like an anatomy study, is like you really get down there and you understand what's going on. Hands. Yeah, we cover everything in the anatomy course. Bones. But yeah, this is.
Look at all that.
Look at all of that.
Yeah, but listen, some old magazines and stuff like this, they can be so hard to track down. You should probably just go over to proko.com.
Yeah, proko.com/anatomy.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's really cool to get to see. Wow, wait, when is that one from?
This was a relic. This is not Imagine Effects. This is a different Imagine magazine from Johns Hopkins University. So they have they have their own Imagine magazine. This is from June 2004. Here, I'll zoom back in. June 2004. I don't know where I'm at in here, but I was in high school, 2004. Oh, there I am. That's my little face. So, the Animator's Toolbox.
Oh,
my 3D world. So it's basically, they asked me a bunch of questions and I answered them, and then I had like,
I
don't know.
This
I don't know.
1997 looking graphic design for all of this. This is Kevin Sorbo looking
dude up 2004.
There. Oh yeah, but their design is very behind.
Yeah, where does this start? I don't even know where this article starts. Oh, there. There it is. So I made this animation and it got like picked up by some stuff. And then I animated the EverQuest 2 unicorn. Horse? That's the unicorn, bro.
They're not horses. They're unicorns.
Yeah.
So never
it was an internship. Reference. It was anyway. This career never turned out to be anything. So
that's how that goes.
Yeah, I went to fine art.
I guess to get us back to this one.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything else that you want to do with these studies? Is there?
Oh yeah, dude, I would do like 8 of these value ones. I'm gonna do another one for sure because I really didn't explore the value compositions enough.
Because it was
So-
just a limited value set.
yeah, I wanted to see. First, I go extreme, right? I do. First, I start with like, let's stay true to the photo and let's just kind of get the hang of the general shapes that I'm working with here. And then I want the opposite. I'm like, okay, let's make the background black and let's see how that looks. Now I'm gonna kind of start trying out different things. Maybe not the whole background is black. Maybe it's some kind of shape. And so I want to play with the composition a little bit. Let's see.
You zoomed it in.
No, I zoomed it back to how it was.
Unzoom.
No, this is good. I'm gonna do one right here.
Oh no, I'm not telling you to unzoom. I'm saying you
not?
unzoomed.
No, I zoomed it in already.
God, I'm so tempted to just keep doing it right now.
Stupid man. I hate you so much. I hate you.
While you're
Right.
starting in on this one, how many layers of values do you think you're going to do for this?
This is gonna be 3 still,
Okay.
but
Just
I'm
moving
starting with actually a lighter version than this because I want to loosely just lay it in first, just my shapes.
While you're first doing this block in, Not Jai is asking in the chat, I have a question. I'm planning on wanting to do entertainment design in the future and major in it. What courses would you recommend for me to improve over the summer before my first term? There are a few. It honestly really depends on what kind of design you're looking for. But one that I definitely can recommend is going to be Ahmed Aldori's Meds Map course. It's proko.com/Meds Map. Super easy. It's good. It'll get you so much. The things that you'll learn in it are going to be applicable to digital art, traditional art, for painterly kind of work, graphic designy kind of work. There's a ton in there. It's a really good course.
All right, so got my basic block in, and then I'm gonna do the shadows. Whoa, is that right? Yeah, it is. 5.
George Boyd, I think, has asked this question in the chat a couple times, or at least someone else did. Stan said he's more of a fine artist than an illustrator. How would you describe the difference?
An illustrator is illustrating some specific idea, like thing for it doesn't serve its own purpose.
Yeah,
it has some other purpose. Yeah, so it's like there's some book, and the illustrator needs to create an image for whatever's happening in that story. There's a cereal box, and you need to, illustrate a book cover, whatever. I don't know.
I'm really enjoying
some ideas.
Spinning your wheels on this one.
Yeah, go ahead, Steven. Finish this off.
I think a person who's doing fine art is typically making something that sits by itself. An illustrator is typically doing something for like a magazine or a book, or other things.
Video game, a movie.
Yeah. It's just kind of like an application, because there can be stuff that someone's making that's tied to some published work that's fine art in level of like rendering style and everything. There's a person here who's asking, any tips on working on large formats? I find it very mind-numbingly boring to cover large areas with graphite. It just takes so long. Stan, I think you have a way of sharpening your pencil that kind of helps with this.
With graphite, though?
Yeah. You got witness graphite that you can use the side of.
Yeah. Where is it? Oh, the one I showed early on? Yeah. But it depends. So if you're doing it on paper that is just going to pick up the texture quite a bit. What I actually do is I use charcoal powder to cover the surface first, and that gives me a good base. I just take a brush, dip it into charcoal powder, and spread it around the areas that are just like going to be really dark. And that gets me pretty far very fast. And you still have to go back through and, get those darker darks in. But yeah, that's how I do it.
Alexander Wegner is asking, hey, Stan, since you studied and worked at the Watts Atelier, I don't know if you're aware in like quotes in there. I'd like to know your opinion about their online courses. We actually have some of these courses on Proko.
We have one.
Yeah, and we don't allow any bad courses.
Yeah,
for what that's worth.
But I did study at Watts, but I never studied on their online program. So if you're asking me specifically because you think I did the online program, I can't like personally vouch for it, other than I know that those teachers are really good.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think the in-person experience versus the online stuff might be different. We don't know.
It is definitely different, but
yeah,
I mean, it's an online course. So first of all, it's an online course. The teachers are awesome. But beyond that, I don't know. I haven't watched their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a bunch of the Riley one that they posted on Proko.
Mm-hmm. That one is really good. I had to watch a bunch of it because I was looking for stuff for us to possibly use for promotion of it. There's some really good stuff in there. I think everyone's always asking, like which method of this or that should I use? And I mean, the answer is probably all of them. It's just different situations, and they did a good job of covering the Riley method in there. What are you struggling with? What are these sounds?
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this one differently. So what I want to do is create the most amount of contrast in the areas that are going to draw the eye. And so I'm thinking, what do I want to lose? What do I want to accentuate? So probably I'm going to try this one, losing this whole shadow area into the background. And then in here, I'll probably do black. So I do want to separate the shadow of the face from the background. I don't know how much though. I don't know how big of a shape I'll put in here. And I'm also not too worried about the edge just yet. This might be a really soft edge generally, just like gradating out from the head. But I'm not sure. I just want to see like value contrast at this point. Mm-hmm. What I do lose in that by doing this is the shape of the hair being like the darkest spot. But what I potentially gain is maybe the lights in this area being the brightest, right? I might tone down the lights down here and make the one on the shoulder and on the head the absolute lightest possible. Mm-hmm. Like I'll have like the pure white highlights on the cheek and the nose and this shoulder. That's kind of what I'm exploring at this point.
Mm-hmm. This is why you started with the lightest one that you did.
This one?
Sorry. In this exact one that you're on right now, you started with a lighter marker, even though you knew that you would go through. Oh,
I just wanted to throw something in without worrying that the light lines would interfere with some other values. I just wanted it to disappear. And you can see these light lines are pretty much disappearing after I put in that middle value.
Yeah.
That's all. There's no reason beyond that.
Let's see. We definitely have some other questions from much earlier. Okay. So Tubbsy was asking, for anime and manga art style, can you learn it in isolation, or do you have to learn real anatomy first? They said they've seen some amazing artists say that they did it in isolation, and their art is still good. What do you think about this one?
What's isolate? What do you mean by isolation?
I think they're saying this in the idea of you learning it just as like manga and art, like manga and anime style. Like you're not like applying other like fine art concepts. You're starting to learn it just as making that style. That's how I'm choosing to interpret it.
Yeah, you could. I mean, but manga is varied. Like there's so many styles in manga. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Like there's much more realistic manga where you can have almost accurate proportions, or pretty much just accurate proportions to reality. And some are very detailed in their anatomy, exaggerating the shapes and be a little bit here and there, which is good. Like you do want to accentuate, but I mean, even in fine art, you look at stuff and they're accentuating shapes too, just in a different way from manga. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's totally fine.
Mhm.
I don't see an issue with it as long as you're studying anatomy for a certain purpose and you're having fun with it, and you're applying the principles of what you're using to something that you're enjoying and that is providing some kind of value. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah, no, I think like one thing that I think people mistakenly think a lot is that there's some like big departure when you do different styles of art. If you're making something that's realistic and something like anime or manga style, it's they're all based in the same fundamentals. It's not like everyone who draws anime and stuff is just ignoring all of the rules of reality and just drawing whatever they want. There's certainly going to be some of that, but the people who make anime and manga that you like the art of, chances are they can probably do a more realistic drawing than you're imagining them being able to do. It's all based on the same stuff. Stan, we are at noon here right now.
Oh,
Do you want to go for like 15, 20 minutes longer here? Or what do you think?
Yeah, let me just go until I finish up.
Okay, sounds good.
So
Yeah,
here's one thing I explored here. So I introduced a light path through here into this shape in here, into here, and this path is guiding my eye right into the head. Right? So I chose to remove all the details in here just right into the background, right? I don't care. I don't care about the value contrast in here. I'll probably put that information, a little bit of that in there in my long drawing, but very subtle. The contrast will be within a very small range of values, maybe 2 values apart at most in here. Maybe just a few little lines indicating. So it'd be maybe like a flat 2-dimensional separation of things, not form shading. So what that is it removed that issue I was talking about in the very beginning, where a lot of things are kind of directly pointing to this foot, which I didn't really care much about. And so now I'm saying, no, let's just guide the eye directly into this area. Let's put the most contrast in this area. And I think like this compositionally is probably the strongest. I don't necessarily like a square like that. That's a very bold choice. I might play with it, do something else. I might just break it up into make it a more organic shape.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but just generally the idea of a light pattern that's kind of organic and kind of zigzagging, in following generally an arc in here into the contrast, I think is kind of nice. But then also just breaking it up and having a few little areas of light, so it's not just like bam, bam, right? Like I do enjoy a little bit of something happening in here, just really simple.
Mm-hmm. I think that it kind of answers the question. Yash was asking. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. A different person, Blood Rapture, was asking: is it usually better to plan focal point ahead of your drawing, or do some artists do it after? Plan it ahead. That's where you have to put the most detail, where you want to like lead things to. It also helps where you even place your drawing on the page. Like knowing your focal point is good. And then we have a question from, looks like it's, I'm so sorry, the name, Christian Nay.
So stupid, dude. Christian Nay. Oh, I hate that guy.
They're asking, what's the best pencil? Hey, Christian.
We know him. He's a friend. He used to work for Proko.
He did. It's true.
Did he say, what's the best pencil?
Yep. What's the best pencil?
Why are you promoting this fraud?
Different Christian. We've got a Christian fight in here. Different Christian saying best
the real Christian
markers are best markers. Don't at me. We've got a tool fight between Christians. I like this.
Okay.
No, the pencil and markers that you should use are the ones that you like.
Thank you.
Like nice politically like casual answer. There are some other questions. So Inukugi was asking, how do you counteract or avoid a figure coming out looking stiff when using the mannequinization technique in art? How do you avoid stiff figures when you're doing mannequinization?
Oh, you start with the gesture. that's
Huh.
that's why you have this first. You figure out what the motion is, and then when you do mannequinization, you distort those boxes and those cylinders. So you make sure that when you're doing like the rib cage box, you're considering. Let me see. The rib cage is probably like the most clear idea. Let's see, an arm. Let's say you have an arm, and you've decided that it's doing this sort of thing. Right, that's kind of the flow of this arm. Beep.
Look at that imagined arm right there. Wow.
It's pretty bad. I'm trying to figure out the flow. Right, I'm not worried about 3D structure. And then, do I like it? No, I don't like it. So I want to do another one. Let's do one that's a little more 3-dimensional.
The one thing that I want to make sure and get out there is that talking about doing like the gesture drawing and the other like these different steps of a drawing, they don't necessarily all have to happen on different pages either. Depending on the level of drawing you're imagining yourself doing, that gesture drawing, if you like that one, can be the thing that you then like add a little bit of structure on top of and then make the final piece. That can all be on the same page.
So this one's better. So I don't know why I drew one without any kind of foreshortening. It's like when I go to mannequinization, I'm just like, all right, so then you do this, and then you do this, and so I set myself up for failure. Here's one with foreshortening. So I've figured out the flow, right? This is the general flow of the hand, right? Gesture. Now when I go in to do mannequinization of this area, I know that I want to push things in this direction. So this upper arm, I'm going to make sure I'm keeping it kind of organic like this. You see how that's not a perfect cylinder, but it's cylindrical, and I'm considering...
You're having it taper a little bit.
I'm having it taper. I'm curving it. I'm not just like capping it off like a boring cylinder. I'm pointing it up a little bit, keeping the shape a little more dynamic. And then for this shape, I again start with the gesture. And I identify
Add structure.
Add some structure, and I figure out what the 3-dimensional structure is in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then in here, maybe this is going to be more boxy for the hand.
Yeah, if you approach it and get a bunch of that stuff out of the way early on, like you start with your gesture, and then when you move into that mannequinization stage, then you start pulling stuff. Pinch a thing here, pull something outwards here. It's just you kind of like getting some stuff out of the way in the beginning. Something that a lot of artists kind of skip past sometimes. Your first drawing doesn't have to be your final drawing.
Yeah, I mean, usually it won't be if you're iterating well,
Mm-hmm.
like if you want to actually explore the best idea, you should, even if your first one ends up being the best one, you should explore past the first one and try to figure things out.
Yeah.
And then the shoulder is kind of just, I don't know, a sausage thing, but well, it could also just be a box.
Yeah, even from when you first started the sketch, I touched the screen like I was going to point at it for the viewer.
Yeah.
When you started it, it was like a pretty like a flat cylinder for the upper part of the arm at the bicep. But now, just in the time that you started doing it and you put the shoulder onto it, now it looks like it's like tapering and kind of like bending. It's a lot more dynamic than even that first little bit was before you started adding the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Get stuff out of the way in the beginning. That's how you guarantee success, like the name of this stream.
That was all marketing.
We did have a question from Amir Hussein asking, I was wondering, what is the skill level required for your anatomy course?
At least intermediate, I would suggest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
You don't have to know everything. It's not like you're coming into it already being a master, able to do like a bunch of like incredible paintings or anything, and then you're like slumming it with some anatomy knowledge. No, you can still be a little bit earlier in your drawing journey, but yeah.
The reason is because when I was doing the anatomy course and I was doing critiques, the most common mistakes that were made by the students in that course were actually fundamental drawing concepts that were not anatomy related.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always be telling them like, okay, you got to improve your line quality. It's just really hurting your ability to study some of the subtlety of the tendons and the bone structure, because your lines are just so messy. So figure out your lines. Or like, man, you know the muscles, but God, they're so stiff. You're not adding gesture to this stuff. So go study gesture, right? Or like if we're shading, they wouldn't know how to control the pencil. It's like all of this stuff is going to hurt you to be able to study the anatomy of the anatomy. And you're just going to be practicing doing your fundamentals while you're trying to also think about this really complex thing. And that's not the most that's not the
it's something that's for some people want to hear.
Yeah. That's not how you want to study anatomy. You don't want to just be struggling with all of that other stuff first. Go study the other stuff and then sprinkle in some anatomy here and there when it practically makes sense. Like if you're doing some drawing and you're really struggling with, the shoulder area, but you're still studying your fundamentals, go ahead, go watch a shoulder video and try to figure out a few things and then try to apply that. But like going through the 370 something lessons I have in the course for a few years before you do fundamentals is probably a bad idea, because you're going to go years of not learning those important things. So I would say intermediate. Yeah. Have a pretty good grasp of fundamentals.
It's kind of bring it back around to what we talked about early on in this thing. If there was something that you were like super interested in learning, like anatomy, but Stan tells you that you shouldn't be drawing anatomy yet, there's a whole different course for that on Proko. It's the Drawing Basics course, and you can save 20% on it now with Black 20 on Proko. You can also use that code for a bunch of other stuff. Maybe some model reference packs, maybe some Photoshop brushes, some Procreate brushes. There's a bunch of those. So whatever you're looking to buy right now, don't spend full price on it. We're not asking you to do that. We're giving you it for 80% of the price.
Don't let this guy bully you guys into it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You guys need to buy this stuff.
You should do it. Please.
Don't. We're going out of business, and
they need to.
Never getting a free lesson again.
But yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, there's a bunch of good stuff on there. If you guys have like specific things you're looking for that you want to possibly try to find a course for, but you're not sure which one after you look at stuff, we're on socials. You can DM us. You can just ask us something in the comments, anything like that. And then there's also the website where you can go to. You can go ask questions over at proko.com/community. It's a really good place. I think you guys should go over there. That's free. If you have $0, proko.com/community. Stan, you're thinking real hard over there.
Trying to figure out the next one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do this one last one. I want to make sure I make it useful in some way.
Okay.
So I want to. None of these so far really capture this big contrast of the hair, and I probably wouldn't actually choose that in the final. I don't want the hair to be the main part. I want the light on the face, which is why I just surrounded this area with dark. But I still want to explore it. I want to see how it would look if I chose to make that hair real dark.
Mm-hmm. I should say, for anyone who actually genuinely is like, no, they keep saying I should buy these courses, I should buy these tools and stuff, but I don't have any money. There's another live stream that you guys will see just alongside this one on the Proko YouTube right now that's scheduled. That one's actually going to be 24 hours of free lessons from the premium courses. It's just lessons like you would normally get if you're not sure if there's actually like an added benefit to buying the courses or anything like that. Come test them out. We'll have lessons from pretty much all of the courses that anyone's ever said that they were interested in. So come check it out. Sign up for that live stream. Get notified. How you feeling? Ooh, there's face details happening, guys.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm just trying stuff like I suggested people to do. Okay, so I want that to be really high contrast. So I'm going to keep the background pure white up here. And then maybe down here, there's less contrast. And so, yeah. So I'm going to have the background quite dark in the bottom. But I do like the idea of this light path. So...
You know what? You're doing that. We've got a nice little fun one. Matthew Avery's asking, how was Lightbox? How was Lightbox for you, Stan?
Lightbox was fun. It was fun meeting people. It was chaos.
It was
just never-ending energy. You know, just like always someone to talk to and something to do. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely had to recover for a week afterwards before we got anything done. But yeah, it was a great time. It's something I would do once a year.
Something I would do exactly as much as it currently is and no more.
Yeah, exactly.
It was really good. It was good to get to meet people over there. It was also really cool to just see all of the different booths that were there, because unlike so many other conventions, they kind of have like a rotating door of people who get to have booths. So it's not like Comic-Con where once you have a booth, you're kind of grandfathered into being there the next couple of years. So it was really cool to walk around and see some of the different art. I know that you had seen some that you ended up like following on Instagram and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of good artists there.
Mm-hmm. And a bunch of them were over there at the Proko booth recording demos. Like the we posted today. That was a good one.
Yeah. One of those we posted today. Aaron Blaze.
I always feel so shilly, like being here, like looking for any segue to throw to some promotion.
You're a master at those segues, man.
It sucks. I don't want to.
Why are you so good at it?
But yeah, in all seriousness,
no shame.
The Aaron Blaze one today was actually really good. Like we were saying earlier, you're gonna hear my voice the most in that one probably, because I asked 1 million questions of Aaron during that thing. With Procreate Dreams coming out tomorrow, it was really cool to get to see the stuff like in person. Yash is asking, are there any painting courses on Proko?
Yeah, we got plenty of painting courses.
Yeah, we do.
I don't teach any of them yet. That might be the path I go after basics. I don't know yet. I don't know. I might take 10 years off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But we do have plenty of painting courses. There's digital painting. There's oil painting. We got several. You want to mention some of them?
Yeah, and I actually just went ahead and dropped the search in here for
okay.
Yeah, that says
you guys. Music. Yeah, we have a search bar.
Bam.
Yeah, it actually works really well.
Yeah, most times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there are a few different courses, and there are a couple that are still in production right now that will come out in the future. But the ones that are there right now, there's something that covers digital painting. There's something that's about traditional painting. Depends on what you're looking for. One person was asking, why is the reference covered? Because it's under our faces right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. It wasn't intentional, I swear.
Woo, I caught it. So do you guys see what I'm doing here with this one? I mean, completely different concept.
This is the flip of the previous one. The last one that you did was 3 values, and you had the darker area behind the head.
Correct. So with this one, I was accentuating the light on the face. That's the bullseye. This one, the hair is really grabbing the attention, which is also fine because it's connected to a lot of the shadows of the features. but it's it's still bringing attention here. But I'm also just like creating a gradation in the background from the darks that are still hiding a lot of this chaos that I didn't like. So it's just merging in with all these shapes, but then I still have the shoulder as a thing that will kind of have this rhythm that comes in and leads up to the head. And then this, I still have the back light in here. But then the shoulder is a little lost, but I might probably just do like some thin lines to accentuate those forms. Where is it?
Beep, beep, beep. It's a good sound effect. Do you normally find yourself doing this many like exploratory things, changing composition this much?
That's not even that much.
For a longer piece?
Yeah, for a longer piece, absolutely. I mean, I'm usually pretty pissed off about most of them. And I'm just like, God, that's not working. That's not working. And it's always like, how do I solve this problem? There's always something wrong with it. In this case, I'm liking every single one of these. I honestly, like, this is probably the most successful value comp session I've had ever. Where it's like, the problem here is actually trying to choose which one I like best, because I would do any of these as a final piece. And so I don't know what I would do next in this case, is like maybe doing one that's a little bit larger, a little more detailed, exploring this one of these general ideas, but then adding a little more detail and seeing how that detail would look with a concept. But I don't know.
I'm curious. Like, I want to get a vote from people in the chat. So the top left pencil one, that doesn't count. That's not like an
it does count. It is an actual one, because this one is just like the background is pure white, and we're going with like very high contrast shadow to light. Okay. I think it still counts. This is a valid concept.
Okay, I'll take this. I thought with the idea of it being just flat white, I was like, no, this doesn't count. I'm gonna ask the chat here. You guys are gonna get to vote which one you guys think looks best.
With this piece, I ended up actually going with that option.
It's perfect.
I do have a little bit of gradation in here, but it's still very white. Like, it's still, if I were to simplify this into two values, I would definitely simplify that background into white. So, yeah.
Okay. See, I always have to ask these questions, and then I have to post stuff for like being the voice of the audience, and then I feel bad because I have to act stupid sometimes. I did during.
So let's just do this. Let's do A, B, C, D.
Oh no, I already gave them numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. I asked this a while ago. We've got a bunch of votes already.
Well, shit. Did you do a poll?
Yeah. So right now, the one that is leading only by like a hair of a margin currently. Oh no, it's changing a little bit. Is 3. 3 and 2 are the closest. 1 and 4. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because I didn't finish this one, because this black would not be only up here. I would sprinkle it in a little bit in these areas, but generally, you get the idea. It's
4 and 1 are definitely the biggest losses in this, but 3 and 4, it's 4. It's 4. 4, or I'm sorry, 3 wins. 3 wins.
That's the winner.
Yeah, it's not changing so much. This wins.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I'm calling it. Thank you guys for voting. I appreciate it.
Now let's do another vote.
Oh, what's another vote?
Which one would look better on a magazine cover?
Oh,
because you got to consider the concept. So this would actually be an illustration. Shoot, I'm not a fine artist.
You're an illustrator.
So you have to consider, like, on a magazine cover, look how freaking busy it is.
Yeah, you have to leave so much space.
You have to. You have to give space to this. And so, I mean, yeah, you could definitely do a lot of dark values, and then they would just, they would put white font instead of black font. So that's totally fine. It's just that, like, what do you? Maybe does that change anyone's opinion?
Right now, we don't have a lot of votes. At 4 was leading for a second there.
Uh-huh.
It might still actually win. 1 and 4 are the highest voted, but numbers are so small right now. The amount
1
of
and 4.
votes-
So it flipped the opposite.
Yeah,
Just look at that.
yeah. Right now, these are those. While you guys are voting, Stan, is there anything that you want to say to kind of like wrap things up a little bit, or do you want to actually take that last one a little further?
No.
Okay.
You guys get the point. I would put very similar dark marks in here as I did here.
Harry
What?
Potter.
Oh.
It's the dark mark.
Yeah, very similar, but more heavy at the top than at the bottom. The ones at the bottom, I would do either very skinny, like really, really thin. So just heavier at the top, lighter at the bottom. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So right now, it's pretty locked in. It's 4. 1 and 4 were the leaders, but 4 was beating the other one by a solid like 30% of the votes that number 1 had. So 4 is the leader.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See? So somebody asked what's the difference between illustration and fine art?
There you go.
There's a big one. Your decision of composition would be different based on the purpose. Whew!
All right. So we learned something here today.
The audience has spoken.
Stan, do you want to just go ahead and like review for anyone who's coming into this late? What is
let's review
the process and what was the purpose of them?
So whenever I prepare for a longer drawing, I want to set myself up for success. And I want to make all my mistakes, or as many mistakes as possible early on, with practice drawings, not on the final one that I'm going to spend 15 hours on. So I usually start with several studies that are focused on a different concept that I want to nail down before I get into it. Usually I start with gesture or proportion. Sometimes I didn't do a proportion study, actually. I just realized. No. Sometimes I do a proportion study where I actually just figure out where the alignments are, the size relationships of things, so that I could figure out the placement on the page. But that will also change based on the values. And then I will go into like a gesture study where I'm just figuring out the flow, the movement between things. In this, I realized that everything was kind of pointing to, let me bring this back. A lot of things were pointing to the foot. Everything just kind of converging right to the foot. And I didn't like that. So I took note of that and I was like, okay, let's make sure that these verticals are something that we focus on. And then I took note that in the value studies, I want to make sure I lose a lot of the information here because I didn't like how it looks like a tied up rope. It's just busy and I didn't enjoy the shapes other than some of the shapes over here. I do like this like arrow of a cast shadow pointing up, and I do like the zigzaggy nature of the light. But a lot of the other busy stuff I just didn't enjoy. So kind of got rid of all that stuff here and just focused on this C curve or S curve thing. Then I went into structure and just focused on, okay, big box, we're kind of eye level with her, but as we go down, we're actually looking down at a bunch of stuff. And so I did a study of the big forms. I've made a mistake in the leg. This definitely needs to be pointed, brought forward a little bit. But yeah, just getting familiar with the three-dimensional structure of everything. The cylinder of this leg informs the knee shape. There's a shadow right here, and so I definitely want to use the cap of the cylinder to inform my shape design here. Cast shadow pretty much just shows that same cylinder, and then the knee in here is a top plane that is also very important. So anyway, figured out the structure. I did a hand study because I know that this is the other focal point. It's far away. And so I will put a little bit of detail in here, not necessarily with a lot of value contrast, because the values will be determined on this, but I might put a bunch of detail in a very narrow range of values. But either way, I want to have some kind of detail in there. Then I jumped into my value studies to figure out the composition and how I want to guide the eye. And the step after this would be to, prep the paper. and combine all of this information now and jump into a longer drawing with a lot more confidence because I'm sure about each element of all the layers that you consider when you're doing a figure drawing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ta-da!
I agree. Plan it
Do you
ahead.
agree?
Set yourself up for success.
We got to make sure we deliver on that clickbait.
Absolutely. 100% of the time you can succeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Did we put 100%?
No.
Okay.
Said every time, which I guess
Guaranteed.
is 100%.
Yeah, that's true. Every time.
Yeah. Thank you guys all for being here.
If you follow the instructions to the T, you will guarantee. You will not mess up.
You guarantee higher success rate.
Yeah. If you don't succeed, then you just did something wrong.
Yeah, that was on you.
Yeah.
Watch the live stream again.
Yeah, watch. Take the basics course.
Yeah. So again, the thing that
God.
brings us all here today is us talking about the Black Friday sale that we have going on right now. We do live streams for other reasons, but we really, really want you guys to know about that sale happening. You can save 20% off like courses, tools, reference packs, all of these different things that we have on sale with that code BLACK20. It's going to be on the website. It's all on the borders. If you don't remember what the code was, it's fine. It's right there. The main thing that I think that we have going right now that's a pretty fun one for people to participate in is that drawing basics course. And it's not just for some little kid to do. It's for even intermediate artists. Revisit your fundamentals. There's 2 levels of actual lessons that are in there. You guys should do them. I guess, yeah, for anyone else who's not wanting to pay for anything, you can actually still get critiques and do a bunch of different stuff in the Proko community. It's totally free. Proko.com/community. And in the chat here, I just dropped the link to the live stream. That'll be 24 hours of free lessons from the premium courses. If you really, again, just don't have any money for any courses or anything. Are you trying to draw a better arm?
No, I'm just exploring the cold.
Oh, and warm.
And the red.
Yeah.
No, this is cold. No, sorry, cool and red. I'm just
playing with markers.
I'm just playing with markers while you end the stream.
So yeah, that's about it for you guys. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy yourselves. Remember to draw and do your stretches.